If you're playing with old cars like I am, or just generally a fixer of stuff, there's one tool that you need to have. That's a thread restoration kit, also known as a thread chaser. Now, why do you need a thread chaser when you have taps on hand? That's because taps are meant for cutting threads. And if you're running these taps down threads that are already cut, you run the risk of oversizing them and making them weaker than they need to be. Whereas a thread chaser is meant for cleaning up existing threads and not cutting extra material out. A thread chaser is a great thing to have if you're shortening stuff. You've got crusty old hardware. This is the tool to use. Let's look at this one. This is a 61-piece set from AKM. Let's take a look at this beautiful thing. When you open it up, you've got all sorts of stuff. You've got thread files, thread chasers for chasing like bolts and stuff, or if you've got things that are captive on a body. You've got the individual thread chaser like dies for going on the outside of hardware. You've got both coarse and fine SAE, as well as metric in all of the common sizes. And something that this set has that isn't terribly common is sizes above 1/2 inch. So 9/16, 5/8 coarse and fine. That would be like 5/8 11 versus 5/8, I believe, 16, 18. Plus you've got all the common metric ones, both in the male thread chasers and female thread chasers. This is a fantastic set. And then if you're trying to figure out what size pitch you have the individual thread gauges. This lets you determine, just with putting the bolt up to it, you can figure out how many threads per inch you have. This is both in metric and SAE. I grabbed the SAE. So how is this used? I went and just grabbed a nut that looks a little crusty. So you take the male thread chaser, you thread it through the threads, spin it down, and if there's any junk in there, they will get cleaned up in the flutes of the thread chaser. The same goes with a female threading die. Let's figure out what this one is. So using the pitch gauge, or the thread pitch gauge, we can put it up against the thread and see that this is a 1.5 millimeter pitch. So let's figure out what diameter it is. So it's a 1.5 millimeter pitch. It's probably, let's see here, M10. M10 right there. Okay, so I've got the thread chaser here. I've got it in a crescent wrench. We're just going to snug this down a little bit. And I have my electric ratchet, so we're just going to feed it through. Whoop. And this is something that can take a couple of hands if you're not careful. If you have a vise, you can always put the thread chaser in a vise, or whatever you need to do. Close enough to the bottom. I know those threads don't go to the bottom and that where they're going. Just like that, you can see all the junk that it pulled off of those threads. This is ready to go back in with a nice little coat of Never Sees. Now, it also comes with a thread file. What that does is allows you to run through a fastener. If you have one thread that's a little creamed, you can use the thread file and clean that one spot up. Or if you have a leading edge that's a little goobered up, you can just clean it up like that. Thread files are nice to have also. Thread chasers are really nice to have around. If you don't have a set and you're working with old stuff or fixing stuff, get yourself a set. This is a fantastic set with a whole lot of sizes.